move into it. Basically, this is just kind of a starting point because it happened that the NuVal gal, as I've been referring to her, was in town today. So it kind of worked to use that as a kickoff for our wellness program, which we'll be doing our first screening on the 24th and 26th. People who go through the biometric screening will be able to get either a Fitbit or a Cashwise gift card. And you all got emailed that information, and there's some posted around the building as well. There's some sets up there.
No email.
You haven't gotten that part yet?
No.
Okay. We'll get that to you. I thought we did with part of this thing, but maybe not. Okay, we will get that to you, I promise. It is posted up here if you'd like to take a look right away. The biometric screening includes cholesterol, blood pressure, BMI, okay, height and weight, blood glucose, okay. And we're working on that through REU, which is a program at Rice Hospital, which Kelly Tauber and Amber Chevalier are going to work with us on. And that will be an ongoing program that they will provide for us. So with that, a couple other quick things that the Culture Committee has coming up. Jill, did you want to address those?
You can.
We're going to be implementing some sort of a job shadowing program, and we will get information to you on that. But basically, anybody is welcome to job shadow anyone here within the building or at any other property that FCC has. And we're trying to working out some details, and we'll get that information to you either through your department heads or through an email or whatever. There's also a volunteer opportunity program that we're working on putting into place. Essentially 12 hours a year or an hour a month, a full day and a half day, or however 3 half days, however you want to break it up. Every employee will have the opportunity to do 12 hours of volunteer service outside of the Tribune.
During work hours.
During work hours that will be covered. It has to be worked out and approved through your supervisor. That will be a given. But there again, some of the fine details we're still working on, but we want to make sure that people know about that. And again, that detailed information will come either through your department head or an email again. Okay? Also trying to incorporate or work on a few team building items and a bunch of new different things or additional things that we're trying to build on from what they've done the last year. Somebody also mentioned we should give Vern credit. He's not up here right now. But if everyone wants to take a peek in the big storage area, if you haven't yet, it looks awesome. Vern, Rick, whoever else worked on that, Reed probably, did an awesome job cleaning that up. So please take a peek while you're up here. And with that, I'll turn it over to Kelly from REU.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be a part of the West Central Tribune's wellness program moving forward in 2015. I'm just going to take a couple minutes. I'll just give you a brief overview and we'll get started with our program today. But as Sharon said, my name is Kelly Tauber. I'm the wellness coordinator for REU. Our offices are located at Rice Memorial Hospital here in Wilmer. And we have been providing on-site biometric and health and wellness screenings for organizations within our community for the past almost 2.5 years now. And so as Sharon said, our biometric screenings include an on-site evaluation for blood pressure, height, weight, glucose, a full cholesterol reading, and something that makes our program unique to other wellness programs that you may have heard of is that we have our health coach, who is Amber, who goes through the results with you at the time of the screening. So there are not results that are mailed to you where you open up a sheet of paper and have no idea what all these numbers mean or what the next steps should be for you in your own personal health and wellness goals. So that's something that we're excited to be able to offer to you guys and also be a part of your organization's wellness goals for the year of 2015. We're involved in a lot of other wellness activities going around in our community, and one of them is the NuVal implementation with our local Cashwise grocery store, and that is why we have Ashley here to speak to you further about how to make the healthy choice easy choice when you're going grocery shopping. So she'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to have Amber introduce you to Amber so you can get to know her. You'll be working a lot more with her closely one-on-one. You do have the opportunity to participate in ongoing health coaching with her, and she'll talk a little bit more about what that is. But her job is to help you identify your health and wellness goals after you receive your biometric data. And then her job is also to connect you to resources in our community that will help you achieve those goals. So with that, I guess I'll introduce Amber Chevalier, and she's going to talk a little bit more about how you can get started with your wellness screening.
All right, well, as Kelly and Sharon have both mentioned, when you guys come through the screening, you get all of that information. And all that information is very important because it gives you a good idea of where you're sitting at. It tells you, maybe I need to improve my diet, maybe I need to increase my exercise, whatever it is to help lower weight, lower cholesterol, lower glucose, that kind of thing. So at the screening, when you come in to meet with me, it's kind of like our first little quick brief meeting. We're just going to go through your numbers. I'll tell you if you're within range or you're out of range. I'll tell you if maybe you should really go in and see your doctor sooner rather than later. And in very, very rare cases, you might get sent to the clinic right away. But at that time, I may give you ideas. Say you had high cholesterol. We have pamphlets on different things. So I'd give you a pamphlet on cholesterol, and it talks about proper foods to eat to help lessen your cholesterol. I'll tell you that exercise is very important for it. Those simple little things. After that, you do have the opportunity to do ongoing health coaching. And at those meetings, that's when we go more in depth with things. So you tell me, what are your true goals to improve your health and your wellness? Maybe you want to reduce stress. Maybe it's increase exercise, whatever. We work on that. And we work on the behavioral end of things, more or less. I have a master's in sports science, so anything exercise-wise, I can help you out more or less. And I'm also certified as a health and wellness coach. So I can help you with those behavioral aspects that you want to change. So scheduling things, that kind of stuff like that. So that's just a brief overview as to what health coaching would all entail. Does anybody have any questions or comments or anything? No?
How much does it cost?
It's actually free through 2015 here. We're still covered under the grant, so.
There is a second step that we can do with Amber if we want, or Kelly, but an additional screening. There is a cost to that. If we get enough interest in that, the company will probably do a split with the employees to cover that part of it.
And that program that Sharon's talking about, it's called Know Your Numbers. So that actually gives you a health risk assessment, and it'll tell you if you're at risk within the next 5 years of developing diabetes, coronary heart disease, having heart failure, or having a stroke. So it just looks at all your biometric numbers, and then it looks at a family history sheet that you fill out. It's really brief and compiles all that and gives you percentages. And it also tells you what what modifications you can make in your life. So say, for example, under stroke, it says that you don't exercise very much, so that's the #1 thing you can do to help reduce your risk for getting a stroke, that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit more detail-oriented.
Are these numbers just between you and me?
Yep.
Company doesn't
Company is not going to know anything. The information will go to the hospital and stay there. So it's all confidential. And like I said, I'll see your numbers. Maybe the volunteer that did your height and weight or something will see it, but everything's covered under HIPAA. So.
And if you aren't able to make the screening dates that we have scheduled for your specific organization on site, we also offer, every Thursday, we offer community day screenings at the hospital. And you just need to call our office and we can schedule you, or if you have family members that are interested in participating, it is open to the community. And again, there's no cost to participate in this basic biometric screening. So that's also an option for you.
They just have to be 18 or older is the only stipulation. All right, well, with no further ado, we'll have Ashley get started with her presentation. It's a real handy system, and it's at Cashwise right now, so take advantage of it.
All right, thank you all for being here today. Like they mentioned, my name is Ashley Kibuda, and I'm the registered supermarket dietitian from Coburn's, and now kind of partnering with Cashwise because we brought NuVal to your location, which is exciting. I apologize, I'm a little out of breath these days, so bear with me as I talk. All right, so shopping on the go. So being able to choose the healthier option more quickly, and that's really what NuVal is all about and its purpose. Can everyone see, or am I in the way if I... Okay, so it's a nutritional scoring system. All right, so first of all, before we get into what NuVal actually is and how it works, I kind of want to set the stage for the situation our country is in right now related to obesity, because that's really what brought about NuVal and the concept of NuVal. So as you're probably aware of, we have an obesity epidemic. So you can look from 1990 to 2009, you can see really how much obesity has increased across the nation. The dark red is greater than 30% of the population being considered obese. This is not overweight and obese, this is just obese. So if we were to add the people that are overweight, this would more than double, okay? All right, so kind of breaking it down more, more than 1/3 of US adults are considered obese, again, just obese, not overweight as well. And then the higher prevalences of adult obesity were actually found in the Midwest and the South. The South didn't surprise me, but the Midwest did. So we actually have, we have a higher percentage of obesity than the South. So almost about 30%. But if we look at Minnesota, we're about 25%. So we're a little bit better than the average of the Midwest. But still, we have a lot of work to do. And here's 2010. So again, you can see that the dark red has increased even more now in regards to the population that is considered obese. So have any of you heard of Michael Pollan at all? Raise your hand. He's an author. He really writes all about food and how we can eat more nutritiously and more healthfully. And he really breaks it down into one sentence, because eating healthy can be very complicated, the way some people are saying it, with this fad diet and that fad diet and this nutrient and this nutrient. So he really breaks it down into one sentence. So eat food, eat real food, limit our processed food, not too much. So watch our portions, and then mostly plants. So making sure we're getting our fruits and vegetables. So in one sentence, you want to know how to eat healthy, that's it. Here is 4 slides, 4 different pictures we're going to go through to see how the rest of the world eats. So pay attention to the number of people in this family and what they're consuming. And this is for a week, okay? So we'll kind of look and see why other countries aren't having the issue that we're having in regards to obesity. So this is a family in Asia, so lots of people in the family. And I don't see anything processed there. There's all whole foods there. Whole grains and lots of produce. South America, same idea, lots of people, all whole foods. Here's the Middle East, the same idea. They do have 3 different sodas here. Notice how small they are, and remember that this is going to be shared among the whole family. So it's all about portion control and moderation. So it's not that we can't have these things, it's just how often are we consuming them and how much. Are you ready for the US?
No.
Here we are.
Oh.
So 4 people, so a small family, and everything's processed. Lots of restaurant food, lots of fast food. This is the only produce I see, 2 tomatoes and some grapes. And remember, that will be divided up. So maybe 1 serving total per person for produce, and we should be having, at least 5 a day. Another thing I want to point out is all the sweetened beverages that we have. So lots of sugar in there and lots of calories in there. So that's a huge contributor to obesity as well. Now moving on to NuVal itself. So this is the simple solution. It's an easy to use at a glance. You'll see this is a shelf tag. So this is literally from the store. You'll see here's the price, and then over here you'll see a number and a hexagonal figure that goes from 1 to 100. The higher the score, the better the overall nutrition, okay? We can't say healthier because that's a regulated term. We want to say more nutritious, okay? So it's important to know that it's on the shelf tag. I'll have people that will say, I've been looking all over this box of crackers and I just can't find the NuVal score. It's on the shelf tag, okay? If it was on the box, all grocery store chains could have NuVal. But you have to be a member in order to get it on your tag. So always look at that tag. The higher the score, the better the nutrition. So as I kind of alluded to, there's a lot of fad diets out there. There's a lot of specific nutrients that people are watching for. So is it low fat? Is it fat free? Is it high in fiber? Is it low sodium? All these different things. So you really don't have to worry about that because NuVal takes into consideration all of the latest research when it comes to nutrition and eating healthy. So think of it as a GPS taking you through the aisles and letting you know which the more nutritious choices are. Here is where NuVal is. So cash-wise should now be up here. But you'll see Coburn's. So it's in all these banners across the nation, actually. So it's not just us. It's a pretty popular nutrition scoring system. So all the states that are in blue, these are the ones that do have NuVal. And this should be updated. So I bet it's a lot higher than that. Okay, so the science. Now we're going to get into that. So why should we trust NuVal? Why is it better than some of these other things that people are recommending to us? So you'll see here, Dr. David Katz, he's the founder of NuVal itself and really came up with that algorithm or science behind the number along with all of these other experts. So you'll notice they're all doctors, so very well qualified and credentialed to be able to do this and do the research for us. Another thing to point out is that they also have a maintenance board. So science is always changing. New research is showing, hey, this is the amount of sodium we need, or we really need to limit our sugar to this. So that's important. So they're always looking at those latest studies and then incorporating them into the algorithm or the science behind that number. So it's always being updated. So basically how it works, it's way more intense than this, but this is just kind of a broken down version. It's basically the good nutrients divided by the not so good nutrients to give us that score of 1 to 100. So the more good it has and the less not so good, the higher that score will be, and vice versa. Another thing is that it's really defined to meet the American goals of how we should be eating and what our issues are. So as Americans, we're not getting enough fiber and we're not getting enough omega-3s, those heart healthy fats. So if something has those in it, that score is going to go up more significantly and more quickly than if it just has vitamin A. Because as Americans, we don't have an issue getting enough vitamin A. Does that make sense? Okay. Same thing with trans fat. If you see a score very low, probably that's the reason. The FDA actually wants to take trans fats completely out of the U.S. food supply because of how detrimental they are to our health. Okay. So when they are looking at the nutrition, what's actually in a product, they look at the nutrition facts panel, but they also look at the recipe itself and how much of each ingredient is in there and where the exact nutrients are coming from to make sure that it's very accurate with their score. They also look at the ingredient list. So you might wonder, okay, why is this all important? Should the nutrition facts panel tell me everything? That would be nice, but it doesn't. Unfortunately. For example, right here, you can see this. It says 0 grams of trans fat. However, if you look at the ingredient list, it says partially hydrogenated oils. That indicates that there are trans fats in this product, despite the fact that it says 0 grams. That's legal. If a food product has less than half a gram per serving, they can put 0 due to our rounding law. So they can put 0. So the average consumer thinks this is trans fat free and probably a good choice. But you need to look at that ingredient list. Not anymore, because NuVal takes that into consideration. Okay? So if it's a lower score, it could have the trans fat. There's no way something that has a trans fat will get a higher score. But you can always double check. Sorry. Okay, so the scoring process. What's important with this is you need to look in the categories. So the protein category, the dairy category, frozen grocery, produce, those things need to be separate. So the idea is we trade up within the protein category. We trade up within the dairy category. We don't compare milk to chips. We don't compare cheese to crackers. The idea is trading up within the exact category. So go to the chip aisle if that's what you want and choose the highest scoring chip. or go to the meat aisle and choose the highest scoring meat. We don't want to cross, look at them. That's not how NuVal is meant to work. Does that make sense to everyone? Because that's really important to know. That's really how it's meant to be used. Okay, so if you all take out your brochure and look at the middle column right here, this is kind of what I'm showing up here. So this will be helpful for you at the grocery store. So if we go down to cookies, they go from 1 to 52, okay? We're not going to find a cookie that's a 100. So you look 1 to 52, and then you look at the average. The average is a 6. So if I'm going to choose to eat cookies today, I want to choose a cookie that's at least a 6 or higher, so I know that it's a better, more nutritious cookie for me, if cookies can be nutritious. Actually, they can, believe it or not, because they're using whole grains. They put nuts in them, they put dried fruit in them. So natural foods will have some pretty decent cookies for you, but the whole idea is to go above the average score at least. Or if the cookie you're already getting is a 30, try to get a cookie that's a 40. Okay, now it's probably like a cracker or a healthy breakfast bar type thing. But I always try to go above that average score. So that's kind of your starting point. Again, that's how NuVal is really meant to be utilized. Any questions in regards to that? Okay. We're going to skip through some of this. I do want to point out this though. A lot of consumers are confused by this. So yes, beef and skinless boneless chicken breast are the same score. They have the same nutritional value. However, that's beef that's only a 95% lean. That's not beef that's at 80% lean. Okay? And the reason for that is because new research is showing that the saturated fat, the specific saturated fat in beef, does not increase our cholesterol levels like other saturated fats. Okay? So as long as we're eating the right portions and as long as it's lean, it can be a very nutritious choice. So again, that's the reason for it being equated with the skinless boneless chicken breast. Any questions on that? A lot of people are really confused by that and don't understand because of what's being portrayed in the media when it comes to red meat. Okay. All right, eggs, their score also went up, and actually we should be eating the yolk. If we're not eating the yolk, we're losing a lot of nutrients. The yolk is what really holds them all, especially some of those healthy fats, the vitamin D. So we absolutely want to eat that whole egg. So again, new research is showing that, so the score has gone up. You don't need to go through this. The scores of yogurts is because of all the added sugar. That's what that is. Let's get through that. So remember how I said we really have to look within the category and trade up within the category? Here's a great example of that. Whole milk at an 82, that 82 sounds like a really good number if the products go from 1 to 100. But I would never recommend whole milk, okay? There's way too much fat in there and it's not the right types of fat. But if we look at all the milks, 100 is much higher than 82. So that's how you know that's a better choice. So really looking within that category and choosing the highest score in that category. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to skip through some of this. All right, so Harvard School of Public Health actually did a study, and their study proved that NuVal is the only system correlated with better health outcomes. So people that tend to eat foods with a higher NuVal score tend to have a lower risk for chronic disease. That's pretty huge, especially coming out of Harvard. And here are some other studies. I'm not going to go through the details of this, but if you want, you can look these up online or I can provide you with these resources. One thing I do want to point out is I just cited that Harvard School of Public Health study. That had 110,000 people that were a part of that study. So it wasn't just 10 people and they got that outcome. That was quite a big study. So again, validating that even more. It's doctor endorsed and independently researched. So this is huge because obviously there can be a lot of bias, especially when it comes to nutrition. So all these other private entities have done research on NuVal and how it works and what the health outcomes are when people are choosing to use NuVal to help them out. So different universities, the USDA is in there, even the American Cancer Society, the Diabetes Association. So the key NuVal messages. What NuVal does is NuVal is all about the nutrition quality. How nutritious is this product? What are the amount of nutrients I'm getting for the amount of calories in here? That's what NuVal does. NuVal does not do portion control, and NuVal does not do balance and variety. You still have to be responsible for that, okay? So sometimes people will say, I'm just gonna eat foods that are all 100s. That's not the idea. The idea is to choose the highest scoring food item in each category. So in the grain group, in the protein group, in the dairy group, in the fruits and vegetable group. That's really how it is, because we need all of those food groups to be healthy. And then portion control, just because something is a high score 100 doesn't mean we can eat all the foods that are 100 or we should eat umpteen amounts of them. So we have to take into consideration all of those factors. Here's kind of an idea. We talk about trading up with NuVal. So if we look at this, we have apple juice. This is not 100% juice. 100% juice would be a higher score. This is going to be like your sugar added sweetened juice at a 13. We go to applesauce. This is sweetened applesauce, which is a 29. And then we go to the whole apple itself. That's a 100. So it really shows you that the more processed something is, the more concentrated the sugars become, and we lose a lot of nutrients, fiber being the main one. So we can trade up within the breakfast category. So looking at cereals here. This always surprises everyone that Special K is a 22, especially because of the diet. When we look at the diet, what is the Special K diet? All their products. Sounds like a money-making thing to me. So it's not about eating healthy overall. So I would look at the number of whole grains here. That's probably why it's low. Also the added sugars. That's another reason. There's probably not a lot of fiber in here either. So trading up within the breakfast category, or the cereal category, sorry. Now this would be trading up at the breakfast meal. So, I mean, let's say you're used to Cheerios, which is a great choice, but you want to increase your overall nutrition. Maybe have some yogurt that gets a 43, or even a higher scoring yogurt, and add blueberries. Now you've just increased your overall nutrition of that meal. Or have eggs with the yolk. So pizza, who doesn't love pizza? But again, the idea is here, if you're going to have pizza, let's have it be the highest scoring pizza available. So these are just examples. So instead of Totino's, we can do the lean cuisine pizza. And that's going to give us 20 more points for the overall nutrition. So it is more nutritious. Same with chips. There can actually be some chips that I would honestly recommend that you add to your diet because they're high in fiber, they're low sodium, their first ingredient is beans or whole grains. So again, just using those. Whatever you want to eat, just look for that highest score in that category, and then you'll increase your overall nutrition. Reformulations, this is important because food companies are changing their product all the time, changing the recipe. Especially as the health and wellness trend sweeps the nation, people are more interested in eating healthy. So they want to change their products to match what consumers want. So this reduced fat Jif used to be a 7. Well, they looked at it, decreased the sodium, increased the fiber, among other things, and now it's a 24. So if you go to the grocery shopping 1 week and you notice the next month it's a higher score or a lower score, you know that's what it was related to. Keeping the time here. All right, so NuVal scores really mirror what health professionals are talking about. So as a registered dietitian, when I talk about good sources of protein, I'm recommending salmon all the time. That's a 93. It's a high score, and it's mirroring again what a registered dietitian would advise. I'm not going to tell you to add bacon to increase your protein. Okay, that's not what I would ever advise. So the point is that it really is mirroring what registered dietitians or other health professionals are talking about and recommending. The same with milk. I recommend skim milk, not the Nesquik chocolate milk, okay, because of all the added sugar, even though it's fat-free. That doesn't matter. We need to look at the whole picture. When it comes to vegetables, I'm not talking about the frozen ones that have the sauce and the cream and the butter. I'm talking about green beans, okay? They can be frozen, they can be canned, no salt added, just no sauces. Same with fruits. I don't mean have some strawberry pie. I mean have some actual strawberries. I really like to point this out because honestly on a daily basis people tell me it is so expensive to eat healthy. I just can't do it. That's why I choose chips or that's why I choose this. That's not true. Honestly, there's so much research proving that it is not more expensive to eat healthy. It's all about your choices. So here's an example of how we can eat healthy on a budget. Fresh broccoli this time of year, I don't even want to guess how expensive that would be. But I know frozen broccoli, this, that you have at least 6 servings in a bag, is $1.69, okay? And it's the same nutrition, okay, for much cheaper. I take this opportunity to, as well, talk about canned vegetables. They get such a bad name. Canned produce can be just as nutritious, if not more nutritious, than fresh counterparts, believe it or not. Who's surprised by that? Everyone in the room probably. So research shows that the reason for this is because, like for example, in California, let's say our broccoli is grown there, or some other place around the world. When it's canned or frozen, it's picked, and within 2 to 4 hours, it's canned or it's frozen. So those nutrients are locked in. Versus when it's fresh, the second it's being picked, now it's exposed to all those elements, and the nutrients are going to be broken down. So how long does it sit at that farm or that facility? Then it goes on a truck. Then the truck travels to, let's say, Minneapolis. Then our trucks go and get it. Then they take it to our stores. Then it goes out on the shelf. Then you purchase it. Then it sits in your fridge, and then you make it. Okay? That whole time, those nutrients are being broken down. Versus when you buy the canned and the frozen, those nutrients are locked in. Not that fresh is not nutritious. It is. But I just want you to see that canned and frozen can be just as nutritious as well. And if you want to see the specific research on that, you can go to fruitsandvegetablesmorematters.org, and there's lots of evidence proving that. Any questions on that? Okay. Again, with that though, I'm talking about the no salt added canned products. I'm talking about the plain frozen vegetables, not the ones in sauces. This is showing that when you have a disease state, a lot of chronic disease, so heart disease, diabetes, things like that, you're told increase your fiber, watch your saturated fats, decrease your sodium. NuVal is really going to reflect that in their scores. If something is lower in sodium and higher in fiber, it's going to be a higher score. So NuVal can help guide you to those better choices for these certain diet plans. However, it does not take the place of your doctor's advice. So kind of keep that in mind. The DASH diet, has anybody heard of the DASH diet? Stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. This has been the best diet for now the 5th year in a row actually. And the higher NuVal scores correlate with the foods that are recommended on this diet plan. Okay, so again, validating it. So we talked about all these good things that NuVal does, but what does it not do? It doesn't label a food as good or bad, it just tells you the nutritional quality of it. And the whole purpose of it is so you can make a more informed decision and choice on the food that you choose to buy. Remember, you have to have balance and eat all the food groups, not just confining your food choices to that one score, anything above 90. It's the highest score within that category. It's not a weight loss program, okay? It's not a fad diet. It's, again, just the nutritional quality of those foods. And when you have like certain allergies or other doctor recommendations, you really need to pay attention to those, and NuVal may possibly not give you all the information you need. So sometimes you do need to look at that label. Okay, here are some products that NuVal does not score. So coffee's on here, water's on here, yeast, you can look at the other things. That's because they're not a huge part of our diet, okay? These are additives. These are things we don't eat for the nutrition in them. All right. And then coming soon, this is actually supposed to be out a while ago, but we're having some glitches with it. But either way, sometime soon we're supposed to have, so this is a shelf tag. So you would have, your NuVal score here, but then it will also have these attributes. So if it's low sodium, if it meets that, it'll have it up there. If it's a good source of fiber, it'll have it up there. So this way you know what the NuVal score as well as these other attributes that food product also has. Okay, and now I left about 10 minutes for questions. So any questions related to NuVal or nutrition itself, I'd be happy to answer them.
Have you seen in the stores, I don't know if you know this, but have you seen that the healthier foods are selling better in the stores now or anything like that?
Yes, actually we do have some data showing that. When we first got NuVal up in St. Cloud, the yogurt sales, we really saw jumps in the higher scoring yogurts versus the lower scoring yogurts. So there's a few categories: bread that happened to, pasta that happened to, the yogurt, and there were 2 other categories too. So yeah, great question.
I wonder if it would even change the companies, how you're saying with the peanut butter, the companies are changing to fit those labels too, so maybe
They are
influencing the other companies.
Yep, it really is true. Yep, we're seeing a lot of things with reduced sodium now. They're changing the fat in it so that it's a healthier fat. Absolutely, because this is this huge nationwide approach to overall health and wellness. So yeah, it's a great thing. Any other questions? Okay.
If there's no more questions, I just have 2 things I wanted to add. I don't know if we mentioned it or not, maybe I just did, but just as far as sign-up goes, we were going to have the sign-up sheet. If you're interested in the biometric health and wellness screening through our program, it will be located in the business office, and you'll just sign up yourself. There's specific times. Each screening takes about 20 to 30 minutes. It depends on how long you are meeting with Amber, but we really like to stick to that 20 to 30 minutes so that we can make sure to fit everybody in and keep everybody on time. Dates, do you have the dates off the top of your head?
The 24th and 26th of February.
Okay, and we try to accommodate, we know you guys are working on some different shifts, so we try to accommodate to fit your schedules. And just to keep in mind when you're signing up, there is a fasting component, just so that we can get your ideal numbers. It's not too tough. We just ask you, it's about a 12-hour fast, so we ask to not have anything to eat or drink after you eat dinner is a good way to judge it. You can take medications and you can drink water. If there's certain dietary restrictions that you have to eat at certain times, we certainly respect that. You can still participate. We just mark your screening form as non-fasting. So if we're looking at certain things that can be affected by things that you've recently ate, we are aware of that, and so that we can take that into consideration. And the other last thing is that I know a lot of times people are apprehensive about going through things like this. We really want you to encourage you to look at it as a way to more of a preventative measure, so that down the road, it's not, if there is something that's of concern, that it's not quite so scary, or we can deter that from occurring in the first place at all. And the finger or the blood draw is just a finger prick. So, and our lancets are very small. So a lot of times people are thinking it's a huge blood draw in the arm. It is not. It's a simple little pinprick. It's over and done in a matter of seconds, so it's pretty easy. And just to stress again, the results are confidential. They are between you and Amber. Okay. Oh, and it also saves you money too. If you go into a screening or for a physical, usually sometimes when you have blood work done, it costs almost $100 on average. You can take your results from our screening and share them with your provider. If they suggest you have further screening done, that's fine, but you can always, you walk away from our screening with a copy of all your results that you can bring to them. So it saves money in that aspect too.
The dates are Tuesday, the 24th of February in the morning from 8:30 to 11:30, and that Thursday, the 26th from 2:30 to 6. And along with that, we'll be doing some fun challenges and things throughout the course of the year, probably, depending on how long we keep this going.
Can I talk about the Fitbit really?
Yep.
Are you guys aware of what the Fitbit is? I know Sharon mentioned that's one of the incentives for participating. So the Fitbit is an activity tracker. There are lots of different kinds of activity trackers out there today. So you might have heard of like Jawbone or what are the other ones?
Misfit.
Misfit, yeah. So basically what the Fitbit is the model you're doing is the Zip.
Yep.
Okay, so it's a little device, you wear it on your pant pocket, okay, and it tracks your activity throughout the day. Oh, yep, she's got one. So it looks similar to that, okay. The really nice thing about a Fitbit is that it tracks your activity without you having to actually like write things down. So you plug a little device into your computer and it uploads all your information wirelessly to your account. Now, as Sharon just mentioned, they're thinking about hosting some challenges that we would certainly be able to help with administering them. What that means is that we set some goals for your particular group, and we can have a lot of fun with it. There's something called a dashboard. If you choose to participate, you can still have a Fitbit and not participate in the group challenges. There's no data that's ever shared as far as age, height, weight, anything like that. Only thing that other people can see, if you choose to let them see it, is your daily activity. So if you're at 5,000 steps or if you're at 15,000 steps, what we found, it's worked in our own organization, it's a huge motivator for people. Nobody wants to be at the bottom of the list. So everybody, it's fun. It creates some camaraderie between co-workers. It's all good fun, but I just want to stress that it is completely voluntary. You do not have to participate in that if you choose not to. It's a fun way to start moving.
And we're kind of working it as an overall health and wellness program, so it's not just a weight loss program, it's not just a fitness exercise program. We're going to kind of try and encompass all sorts of things with their health. So I encourage people to consider that and sign up for the screening. I will get those sheets into the business office, hopefully yet this afternoon, and then we'll send out some other information as well. Any other questions?
At the hospital, we go down to
They're going to come in here and do it on the 24th and 26th, but if you don't or can't do it here, you can also do it at the hospital. What day?
The first Thursday in March, or
First Thursdays of the month.
Yep. Exactly.
Just contact Kelly or Amber through REU. So, okay? There's lots of food left. Help yourself. Grab a snack for later. And thank you for coming.
Yes, thanks for having us. Thank you.